Rachel, for this challenge, we are talking about saying, oh, yes, and then no, not so much.
Yes.
Can you tell me why it's important to practice saying yes to your partner, giving them that affirmation, and why it's equally important to practice saying no to your partner?
Yeah. So enthusiastic consent is incredibly important when it comes to, I mean, most things, but especially around sex. And you want a partner sexually that is like, hell yes, I want to do that. Even if it's a hell yes, I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I want to try it, right? You don't have to be like a hell yes because you know you love the thing. It could be, hell yeah, I've never tried it and I want to try it with you. And when we give our partner the hell yes, it is such a different experience than like, yeah, okay, like, is that a yes? And so on the same flip side of the coin, when we say no, I don't want to do that, we then can trust the yeses more. If we don't ever hear no and we're just hearing yes, 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 do they feel pressured? Like, do they really want to try everything? So what I want to encourage people to do is practice saying yes and practice saying no. It can sometimes feel icky when somebody comes to us and they're like really excited about a thing and they're like, oh, I want to try this thing. Do you want to try it with me? And you're like, oh my God, I have to say no. I have to tell them no. And because it's so uncomfortable in that moment to say no, sometimes we wind up saying yes,
I
or
think
we give the
I think the piece, so a couple things on this one. When we were creating the challenges, I thought I would understand most all of them and why we needed them. I did not understand the importance of practicing saying no to your partner until I had that conversation in my relationship. And I understood when I say no, or if my husband says no to me, it takes all the wind out of the room because we've never had the practice of saying no, I don't want to try that tonight, or no, I don't want to have penetrative sex tonight. What ended up happening is whenever a no was said, it made the other person feel hurt, discouraged, embarrassed.
rejected.
Rejected is, I guess, the all-encompassing term. And
Yeah.
being able to have that enthusiastic, heck yeah, let's do it, and having that, that's not for me. No, I don't want to do that. You get used to just what you said, just rolling with the no, completely understand, let's move on. And then
Yep.
the yeses become so much more fun.
Yes, exactly. The yeses are fun and you build up a tolerance for hearing no,
Yep.
right? And if you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, okay, but like how do I start? Literally walk up to your partner, face each other and say, "Can I hug you?" and have the other person say no. Start with something very low stakes like you know your partner typically wants to hug you, right? So like the feeling of rejection is going to be smaller because you know that it's like a role play and it's still hard. That's what's wild about this is like, even though we know it's like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to say no. And you know, I'm going to say no. And I know I'm going to say no. And you're standing there and they're like, can I hug you? And you're like, ah, and you gotta say no and practice saying it, practice hearing it. It will make it so much easier to say no in the moment when you do really, in fact, want to say no. And you realize that there is the not tonight version of no,
Yep.
right? So some things are like absolutely not, no interest, don't foresee a future in which this is an interest. I will let you know if that changes. It's a hard no from me. And then there are times where it's like, not tonight. Can we circle back to this in like 2 days? Right? Like, let's say you had a stomach ache all day and like you're not feeling particularly like, being thrust around your room. It's like perhaps you're saying no to penetrative sex that night, but the next day your stomach's fine. And you're like, thrust me around the room. So saying no, not tonight is also another way of still saying no and not just like, no.
Absolutely. And I think that this is one of the most important challenges that the cake challenge has. So go practice saying enthusiastic yeses and practice saying no. It sounds counterintuitive, We promise it will work and help.